live pictures from State House Nairobi, where we've seen various officials already leave State House heading for the Kasarani Stadium, and any minute now we can be expecting the President-elect Uhuru Kenyatta and his Deputy President to be leaving State House and heading for that Kasarani complex. The Deputy President, we understand, has already left, so it is President Kenyatta who we still await. He's President-elect right now and will be sworn in within the next few hours. Remember, this program is tight. It is one that is stipulated by the Constitution, and the clock began 1 hour ago when, of course, the military took over the program at Kasarani. Remember, this is a function that is being presided over by two key institutions, the military and the judiciary. We've already seen, of course, the judiciary, the entire bench there at Kasarani, and so we are expecting that very shortly it will be time then for President-elect Uhuru Kenyatta to make what will certainly be a very historic and jubilant entry into Kasarani on the back, yes, of a heavily contested election. But today we have seen crowds gather, packing the Kasarani Stadium to capacity, also filling up its overflow areas and lining the streets of Roysambu, awaiting to catch a glimpse of a man who has fought a difficult battle to make it back for a second and final term, and the clock on that begins today. And there we go. That is the convoy of Deputy President-elect William Ruto heading to Kasarani to be sworn in alongside his party leader, President-elect Uhuru Kenyatta. These certainly are some very significant moments for a man who himself has ambitions to one day be perhaps in a similar convoy, but in a much different position. He, of course, and the support from his home ground, the Rift Valley region, being a critical component of the win that propelled Jubilee to power. And he now makes his way, and in a few minutes' time we should be expecting that the president will be behind him. We've seen the heads of state of various countries already arrive at Kasarani, giving all indications that any minute now we will be seeing this ceremony kick off. Of course, they have until 2 p.m. to conduct the inauguration. It must be done in a public place. All this in accordance to the law. And this inauguration comes on the back of protests by the NASA coalition, who say they do not recognize the election of October 26th. It was a repeat presidential poll, one that they did not take part in, one that was contested in court and upheld by the highest court in the land. But nonetheless, they say they have no part of it. They have been threatening to hold a parallel event, one to mourn those who have passed on during this election period in Nairobi. But all eyes today largely appear to be at Kasarani for a national event, one that signals the end of a journey for the opposition in as far as the constitutional process that is laid out to get into power. But it may not mean an end to their protests politically. There are many questions as to what the president will have to say once he is sworn in, as we have said, coming on the back of a hotly contested election when fractures in the country appear to have deepened. What will he tell a nation that may be in part celebrating but still grieving and hurting from a tumultuous electoral process? And so the words of the man to the nation this day will be key in terms of setting the tone. Will he strike the right chord with the Kenyan public, not just his supporters, but very much so those who still feel opposed and aggrieved by his re-election?
Asanteni kwa heshima, tunaweza kuketi tafadhali. We may have our seats. Basi ni wakati wa kuweza kunyooshwa vyema katika misururu. Ukiweza kutazama waliingia wakiwa katika misururu mitatu, lakini hivi sasa wako katika misururu miwili, na hivi sasa wanaweza kunyoroshwa pale tayari kwa gwaride ya siku ya leo wakati wake parade RSM. Wanajipanga hivi sasa wakuu mbalimbali wa vikundi kuweza kusimama mbele ya vikundi vyao tayari kuweza kuingia rasmi kwenye gwaride hii. Mkuu wa kikundi cha kwanza, cha pili, cha tatu na cha nne. Basi baada ya parade adjutant kuhakikisha kwamba wanajeshi hao wako tayari kwa ajili ya gwaride ya siku ya leo, mkuu wa gwaride hii anafika kuweza kuchukua hivi sasa usukani rasmi kutoka kwake parade adjutant.
And that is Deputy President William Ruto's convoy, Deputy President-elect, I should say, now at Roysambu, and so very shortly making that turn. And you can see his hand waving, you can see him giving the thumbs up. Does not appear like he'll be popping out, but he certainly is acknowledging the crowds that have lined the streets to welcome him, and of course to welcome his boss to the Kasarani complex. Remember, this is a stadium that's packed to capacity. One person was injured earlier in a stampede with those, trying to force their way into that arena. Nonetheless, they have found some sort of relief, if you like, by lining the streets, and they will get a glimpse of the two men of the moment very shortly. And there he is, giving that Jubilee salute and wave to clearly jubilant supporters. Excited to see a day that at some point did not appear to be on the horizon for them, but as fate would have it, here we are with a second and final term for President-elect Uhuru Kenyatta.